Marriott Hotel. Yo, what's up? How y'all doing out there in Melbourne? Y'all alright? I bet y'all is like probably have difficulties dealing with me. I don't care. I have difficulties dealing with you too. I really got some bad news. The fires are not gonna stop. They're gonna be intermittent. Some of them never gonna go out. You guys are gonna be really miserable. Cause see, what you're not paying attention to is that it's going into the season now where things get really, really dry because it's getting ready to start shutting down. Cause see, it's going into August, which indicates to nature that we're about to go into the cold spell, which means that the plants know that it's time for me to stop getting rid of my foliage because I can't afford to keep feeding all these leaves because the sun's going to be leaving, which is going to take energy away from me to regenerate myself. Though I can still regenerate myself, I won't be able to regenerate myself as well as I've been doing when I was in a different position of the sun. This changing of positioning of the sun is going to change the attitudes of all of the recipients of the sunlight, except the human beings, because we have some human beings on the planet that do not vibrate off of sunlight information. They vibrate off of instructions that they obtained from books like the Bible, which makes them dull as hell because now instead of you having a consciousness that would be synonymous with the vibrations of your surroundings, your environment, your natural ability to pick up information from that has been stagnated and removed because you go listen to the preachers in the churches, in the local centers of theologians that are mostly chauvinistic as well as racist and the worst one of all, greedy. And then there's even a greater word than greedy, deceitful. So the reason I'm here in front of the camera again is to let you know what my objective is. My objective is to wake up the ignorant. And the ones that are not able to be woken up must be recreated. And then you guys are still wondering, who in the fuck does this guy think he is? And see, I expected this. And I have a rebuttal to that. Oh, I have a question for you. Who is it that you think you are not? And since you think you are not that, you think that I can't be that. This is your problem, not mine. Because my awareness of who I am gives me the ability to speak things and make them come true. Because thus, I know that I can. Yeah. And I've already did the rituals necessary, spoke the incantations necessary, did the divine actions necessary, did all the necessary meditations, and I did all the necessary devotional worship of my creator God the Sun. In return, I was given the privilege and the knowledge, along with the privilege, to speak judgment on the earth. Imagine that. Now see, this is where it gets tricky. Because you guys been taught that the only person that can do that is your white Jesus. But with your white Jesus having the power to do all that, he never did anything about the slavery that went on to my nationality of people. He never did anything about the misuse of the women. He never did anything about the false misleading in the introduction to drugs and sex and alcohol and tobacco that is reared and targeted to the young masses that is growing up. And it is obvious to me that these perpetuators of this type of bullshit plans on remaining in this circumstance that they can do it forever. This is where we have opposition. See, because me, representative of the universe, with Galactic Federation backing me up, even though you white people can't believe that, you will. I have been invented to challenge those that be ruling falsely, impostorous, and through deception and violence, deprivation. So I have a big task Thus, they gave me the sun to work with. Now, in case you don't know, the sun has electromagnetic energy source that permeates in everything. Now, I'm going to try to explain that to you, how that works. Okay, feel this. You know how your body has a brain that receives information from the heart? And your heart tells your brain where it wants it to construct energy movement at. Send the proper ratios of energy to the toes so I can wiggle it and make that fly and get off of it. That starts in the heart, not here. Let me explain to you why. If you had a fly that was a pet fly that you admired and it was on your toe, you probably would not feel it in your heart to want the pet fly to flee. So, since you do not feel it in your heart to get rid of the fly, you would not tell the brain to wiggle the big toe and interrupt the fly's moment of magnificent grace that he was bestowed to have the luxury of hanging out on your big stinky ass toe. Flies like stinky toes. They do, I know that. So, as we move along, just as your heart can send a signal to your brain and get your brain to send signals throughout your body to make your body do crazy shit. See, my heart tells me to act like a goddamn idiot, and that's exactly what I'm doing. See how that works? Has nothing to do with the brain at all. The brain is just an energy center that does what the heart tells it to do. But we didn't learn that in school because someone in school taught us about our brain, but they never taught us about the importance of the heart. This is what God judges us by. The heart. So see, white people who are really melanin recessive people has it in their heart from foolish books that melanated people are their true enemy. But they don't realize that if it was not for melanin, you could not have a heart. So why should you look at melanated people as being detrimental? Because you got that in the book. It's in Deuteronomy in your Holy Bible. Go read it. Chapter 7, chapter 10, chapter 1. The whole book is nothing but instructions of hate. That's all it is. Okay, this is unnatural to have people writing books on earth and distribute them in large masses to people in other nations crying, so happy to get a book that is going to teach the white people in their neighborhood to hate their black asses, and they don't know that. And they're excited to have the book printed in their own damn tongue so they could be easily filled with dissension by this book. But they don't know that, see, because they think that their brain is what signals all the actions through the body. No, the brain simply sends energy to the areas that the heart would like energy sent to. Thus bringing me back to the concept of the heart of evil men sending the energy, form of the Bible, to nations who otherwise would never get it. And they're so nice, they gave it to them free and put it in their own native language so we can thus make good Christians out of them. And enslave and oppress them even more. Because now we're going to oppress them spiritually because we're taking their own God-given spirituality away from them and teaching them to worship a God other than the natural God, because you can't ever see this God. This is what I mean. I can see a duck, expression of my God, emanations of God. And you might not believe that that's an emanation of God, but it is. It's called sound. Yes. And the Africans always made their drums out of natural materials, nothing synthetic. And there was a purpose for that, see? Because they knew that that which permeates in all was the spiritual essence that was necessary to keep the vibrations designed in the universe the way the Creator intended for it to be. So now you have people that comes up with synthetic clothing, synthetic food, synthetic attires to carry synthetic groceries that has been processed along with the processed plastic bag and the processed weed that your ass have in the plastic bag. So we have a world that has deceived our hearts into believing that it's not important, because if it was not important, you would not be making the foolish mistakes that you're making by entertaining a God that you can't see, touch, anything. But it's your God because it looks melanin recessive like you, and it doesn't have any traces of the low life, once a month, evil sin bringing to the earth bitch female who we completely pissed off the picture because her pussy is not necessary, because God didn't need her pussy to get her, even though he came here through it. He really didn't need it. He just, I guess, chose to come through the unnecessary pussy that got completely pushed out the equation. I just wanted to point that out to you because I feel that someone might be fucking with your head. Okay, because we know, first of all, that Adam could not have had a baby. See, the heart should tell the brain, through observation of my eyes, it has come to a concluding factor that the women have the babies, because I myself was birthed out of my mom, and she, meaning my mom, was birthed out of her mom. So see, if daddy gets on top and squeak, 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 and skeet, 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 that doesn't necessarily mean that mama's belly's gonna rise. See, that's how that works. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty. If mommy belly does rise, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was daddy who made it rise, or the hubby. Could have been something or someone else. Cause see, it happened before. Because Mary told Peter, I think his name was, no, Mary and Joseph. She said, I'm gonna have a baby. And Joseph was like, but I haven't hit it. You're a skank. And she was like, no, because see, there's circumstances that make this a very unusual type of occurrence, because I have been summoned to use my uterus to make a God. But this is what they left out. God is so great that even in all his greatness, he still had to manifest himself in the discarded pussy, aka universal uteruses, to make his grand entrance into the format of becoming the great white God. And of course, the great white pussy that I will put over Jesus' bitch ass any day completely gets pushed out of the picture, just like the container that the potato chips will come in. Once you eat the potato chips and they're all depleted, just throw the bag away. Here's the problem. See, the bag that the potato chips was in these days is synthetic, made from processed conglomeration of aggregates, just like some of the food. Which means that even to manifest potato chips in a bag, they made a synthetic uterus to bring the potato chips. Now nature shows you on the processing level of man-made materials as well as on the level of the genuine supreme mind creator. All manifestations must come from a whole and return to a whole. So, look at this. See? See? And then watch this. When this thing got filled up, it was like a little nipple. This thing rolled up under it like that, and it squirted. It was like a man squeak, 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 and skeet, skeet, skeets into his girlfriend.